Shedeur Sanders' Browns' future in jeopardy after Kenny Pickett injury sends QB room into chaos. Training camp is supposed to be a time of opportunity for quarterbacks, especially. Every rep matters, every throw is scrutinized, and every misstep can cost a player his job. And for rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, opportunity appeared to finally knock when fellow quarterback Kenny Pickett suffered a hamstring injury during red zone drills at the Cleveland Browns camp. But what followed was far from a golden ticket to ascend the quarterback pecking order. Instead, it may have sealed his fate. In a crowded quarterback room led by head coach Kevin Stefanski's cautious management style, the Browns are now rumored to be preparing to make a significant roster decision. And by all indications, Shedeur Sanders could be the odd man out. Let's unpack the situation at Browns camp, the complex quarterback dynamic, and what it means for Shedeur's immediate NFL future. The Browns' crowded QB room, where everyone's watching. Heading into training camp, the Browns had 4 quarterbacks fighting for relevance. Joe Flacco, the veteran with a Super Bowl MVP on his resume. Kenny Pickett, the former Steelers starter looking to reboot his career. Dillon Gabriel, the rookie with a lightning-fast release and a sharp football IQ. Shedeur Sanders, the media magnate and son of Coach Prime, who slipped to the 5th round in the NFL draft and now faces the fight of his life just to make the final 53-man roster. It's a brutal depth chart, and Stefanski made one thing clear early on. Nobody was being handed anything. Got to put these guys in position to succeed, Stefanski told reporters. That means letting the competition play out. Drills reveal the pecking order and trouble for Shedeur. On day 1 of full-speed team drills, the hierarchy began to reveal itself. Joe Flacco looked as comfortable as ever, completing all 5 of his pass attempts with a touchdown in his limited reps. Pickett, hot on Flacco's heels, went 6 of 7 and showcased pocket poise that turned heads. Dillon Gabriel, the youngest of the group, also made his mark, going 7 for 7 with a touchdown. His performance stunned onlookers and signaled that the rookie wasn't just there for reps. He was there to contend. And Shedeur Sanders? A shaky 3 of 8 passing performance while primarily working with the 2nd and 3rd units placed him squarely behind the competition. While it was just one day of drills, it echoed concerns from earlier OTAs and minicamps that Sanders may not be ready for NFL speed, at least not yet. The twist: Kenny Pickett injures hamstring mid-practice. Then came July 27th. What could have been Shedeur's moment? During red zone drills, Pickett tweaked his hamstring. He pulled up awkwardly after a scramble and limped off the field. Trainers assessed him immediately, and soon afterward, the Browns confirmed that he would miss several days of practice. In a quarterback competition as tight as Cleveland's, missing any reps can shift momentum. And with Pickett out of commission, the logical question followed: would Sanders step up? But the coaching staff's response was telling. Rather than promoting Sanders to take more first-team reps, the Browns appeared to stay the course, giving most of the extra snaps to Flacco and Gabriel. Sanders did get a slight bump in usage, but it wasn't the vault up the ladder that many had hoped for or expected. Kevin Stefanski speaks, day to day, but no Sanders surge. When asked about Pickett's injury, Stefanski downplayed the severity. It happened at the end of practice there a couple days ago. Felt something, so we'll just treat it, he said. Pushed for a recovery timeline, Stefanski remained vague. I don't have a timeline. With something like this, we'll see how it goes. But his mindset, my mindset, will just go day to day. Pickett reportedly underwent an MRI, but Stefanski declined to share any details. What he did confirm was that reps originally earmarked for Pickett were now being spread among the remaining QBs. Yeah, obviously everybody will get a little bit more, Stefanski said. But we're not changing the plan. The phrase "not changing the plan" hit hard for Sanders supporters. Reading between the lines, the imminent cut rumor. Insiders close to the Browns have started whispering about a potential roster cut among the 4 quarterbacks. With Flacco firmly entrenched and Gabriel flashing promise, it leaves Shedeur Sanders and the now-injured Pickett as possible candidates for the chopping block. Let's analyze the situation. Joe Flacco. At 40 years old, Flacco is the ultimate fallback. He led the Browns to crucial wins in 2023 when Deshaun Watson was injured and remains one of the most trusted voices in the locker room. His role as mentor and backup seems guaranteed. Status: safe. Dillon Gabriel. Despite being undersized, the third-rounder has impressed the coaching staff with his anticipation, footwork, and maturity. He's raw, yes, but Cleveland believes they may have found a developmental gem. Status: rising. Kenny Pickett. Before the injury, Pickett was gaining steam. His chemistry with receivers was clicking, and his command of the offense was evident. The hamstring tweak slows his momentum but doesn't derail it. Status: injured but valuable. Shedeur Sanders. On paper, Shedeur checks several boxes. He's athletic, dedicated, and high-profile. He stays after practice to work on mechanics and shows leadership qualities. But in real-time drills, he's lagging. Combine that with his lack of first-team reps, and it's easy to see why rumors are swirling that he could be cut or stashed on the practice squad. Status: on the bubble. Why Shedeur's draft fall matters now. Much has been said about Shedeur Sanders' dramatic fall in the draft. Once mocked as a first-rounder, he plummeted to round 5. Analysts blamed everything from arrogance, poor combine interviews, and controversial comments to an over-reliance on his father's brand, Coach Prime. But in the NFL, draft pedigree impacts everything. A third-round pick like Gabriel gets more chances. A fifth-rounder has to fight to get noticed. And so far, Shedeur hasn't been able to flip the script. The reality: Sanders may not be NFL ready. He's just not ready. One Browns insider reportedly said, "He's got the tools, but the speed of the game, the processing, it's still not clicking." That doesn't mean Shedeur Sanders won't eventually find his footing. He has time and clearly the drive. But in a win-now league, Stefanski and the Browns may not be able to afford to wait for his development curve to align with their competitive window. So what's next for Shedeur Sanders? The next week of camp will be crucial. With Pickett sidelined, Sanders will inevitably get more reps. If he can capitalize, improve accuracy, command the huddle, and push the ball downfield, he might just shift the narrative. But the leash is short. Browns executives are expected to meet soon to determine which quarterbacks will advance to preseason reps. If Sanders doesn't shine, he may not get that opportunity. Worse, he could be released. The more likely scenario is that the Browns retain him on the practice squad, shielding him from waivers while they continue to groom him. But even that's not guaranteed. Deion Sanders stays silent. For now. Surprisingly, Deion Sanders, Shedeur's father and outspoken advocate, has remained silent in recent days. No tweets, no videos, no press statements. Some see this as a sign of worry. Others believe Coach Prime is giving his son room to fight his own battle. Whatever the reason, the silence is deafening. Fans react. Is Cleveland the right fit? Online, Sanders fans have voiced frustration. They never gave Shedeur a fair shot, one user posted. How do you judge him when he's barely getting snaps with the starters? Another chimed in, maybe it's time he looks at another team. Browns never believed in him anyway. Yet others believe this is just the process. Welcome to the NFL, one longtime Browns fan wrote. You earn every inch. This ain't Boulder. Final word, a fork in the road. Shedeur Sanders arrived in Cleveland with expectations sky high and a last name that carries weight in every football circle. But the NFL is the ultimate meritocracy. Name value opens doors, but it doesn't guarantee a roster spot. With Kenny Pickett's injury disrupting the quarterback timeline, the Browns now face a decision that could define Shedeur's rookie season and possibly his career trajectory. Is he a long-term investment or a short-term casualty of roster math? One thing's for sure, Shedeur Sanders is now fighting for more than playing time. He's fighting for his NFL survival. And time is running out. Shedeur Sanders forces Browns to rethink QB battle as Kenny Pickett injury changes everything. In the ever-shifting landscape of NFL training camps, stories of underdogs rising, veterans digging deep, and rookies fighting for their futures flood the headlines. But among them all, One name continues to stir controversy, admiration, and speculation at Cleveland Browns camp, Shedeur Sanders. The fifth-round pick and son of legendary NFL Hall of Famer Deion Sanders arrived in Berea, Ohio, under the blinding spotlight of public scrutiny. Tagged as raw, unpolished, and perhaps overhyped by critics, Shedeur knew the odds were stacked. The Cleveland Browns already had 3 quarterbacks in the mix: Super Bowl champion Joe Flacco, former Steelers starter Kenny Pickett, and promising rookie Dillon Gabriel. For the 144th pick in the draft, reps were scarce and competition was fierce. But after weeks of trailing in the depth chart and catching passes with the second and third string units, Shedeur Sanders is finally making noise and forcing the Browns coaching staff, especially Kevin Stefanski, to reconsider their quarterback pecking order. The QB gauntlet: 4 men, 1 job. From the outset, Kevin Stefanski made it clear, nothing would be handed to anyone. You've got to put these guys in a position to succeed, the Browns head coach said, referencing his decision to give all 4 quarterbacks meaningful reps during camp. Joe Flacco had the resume. Kenny Pickett had experience. Dillon Gabriel had the hype. And Shedeur? He had questions. How would he adapt to NFL speed? Could he shake off criticism about his draft slide? Would his father's larger-than-life persona be a distraction or an inspiration? Through the early days of camp, the answers were mixed. Reports noted Shedeur's commitment, staying late after practices, working on footwork and snap exchanges, but also highlighted his inconsistency during 11-on-11s. Shedeur's breakout: 8 of 11, 3 touchdowns, and 1 statement. Then came Saturday. In a practice session that was anything but routine, Shedeur Sanders finally announced himself as a serious contender. Completing 8 of 11 passes with 3 touchdowns, he turned what had been a simmering QB race into a boiling cauldron of intrigue. Observers said it was the most confident they'd seen the rookie yet. He wasn't just reacting, he was dictating. One throw, in particular, had fans and insiders buzzing. In what was dubbed the play of the day, Shedeur hit new wideout Deontay Johnson with a perfectly placed pass just behind a linebacker. Johnson made the cut, broke away, and waltzed into the end zone. The sideline erupted. Even those who had doubted Shedeur's readiness couldn't ignore the precision and poise. "I know who I am as an individual," Sanders said after practice, "and I know what I could bring to this team." For a player who had just 3.48 passing earlier in camp, this performance was a seismic shift. Kenny Pickett's injury. A window opens. Coincidence or fate? The stars aligned further for Shedeur when Kenny Pickett, the presumptive second-string favorite, suffered a hamstring injury during red zone drills just a day earlier. Stefanski remained vague on the injury timeline. He felt something at the end of practice. Stefanski told reporters, "We're going to treat it and he'll be fine. No exact return date." But in the NFL, day-to-day can mean a week or more. And that week just might be the time Shedeur needs to shift from a developmental project to a legitimate contender. With Pickett sidelined, reps have to be redistributed. And suddenly, the reps Shedeur had been begging for were now up for grabs. Poetry in motion. Shedeur shines again in 11-on-11. Shedeur didn't let the opportunity slip. In another clip posted by Browns insider Brad Stainbrook, Shedeur is seen maneuvering through the pocket with ease as defenders close in. He dances away from pressure, resets, and lofts a pass downfield to Gage Larvadain. Touchdown. It was a highlight that spread like wildfire on X, formerly Twitter, accompanied by thousands of views, reposts, and comments. The fans in the crowd cheered. Online viewers had more varied takes. 29 needs cut today. Not tomorrow, one user wrote, slamming cornerback Cameron Mitchell for failing to make a tackle at the goal line. Others defended the defense, reminding critics that training camp plays are often lighter to avoid injury. Regardless, the focus remained on Shedeur's throw. One fan wrote, "That's an NFL throw. That's why he's QB1 material." Still grinding. After-practice work with Myles Garrett and Brady Latham. While many quarterbacks would have called it a day after a 3-touchdown performance, Shedeur Sanders stayed on the field. And he wasn't alone. Five-time Pro Bowler and 2023 NFL Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett joined him, along with rookie center Brady Latham. The trio worked on snap exchanges, an issue that had plagued Shedeur in his first week at camp. Daniel Oyefusi posted a clip of the moment, captioning, "Browns QB Shedeur Sanders working on snap exchanges with center Brady Latham after practice. Myles Garrett playfully came along for one play to give Latham a look as a pass rusher." The video went viral. For Garrett, this wasn't a one-off. The Browns captain has taken it upon himself to mentor both Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. "The guys are not afraid to make a mistake. Go out there and try to make a play," Garrett said. "They're not afraid to seek each other out and make each other better." He emphasized the lack of cutthroat energy among the QBs. "They've been lifting each other up. This isn't a QB battle royale. It's a QB brotherhood." Myles Garrett's vote of confidence. "Shedeur is my QB1." Though Garrett has praised all quarterbacks, his body language, and lingering time spent helping Shedeur has fans convinced where his preference lies. "He stayed after with Shedeur, not the others," one reporter noted. "You can tell there's belief there. Whether that belief translates into a depth chart shakeup remains to be seen." Kevin Stefanski, known for his measured approach, hasn't yet indicated a change. But with Pickett unavailable and Shedeur outperforming expectations, the pressure to reward merit may soon override caution. Can Shedeur make the 53-man roster? Here's the million-dollar question. Joe Flacco is a lock. Dillon Gabriel is a third-round pick with upside. Kenny Pickett has experience but is injured. Shedeur Sanders is rising fast. But is it fast enough? The Browns could carry 3 quarterbacks into the regular season or stash one on the practice squad. If Shedeur continues this trajectory, cutting him would likely backfire. He'd be claimed off waivers instantly. And with Deion Sanders watching from afar, and fans rallying behind the rookie, the Browns could face a PR firestorm if they move on. Fans rally behind the rising star. The court of public opinion has shifted. Just a week ago, fans on X doubted Shedeur's place in the NFL. Today, many are calling for him to start. "Give the kid a chance," one fan wrote. "You're looking at the future of this franchise." Another added, "He was always going to be a late bloomer, but look at him now, lights out." Still, others urge caution. "Let's not crown him yet. One good practice doesn't erase all the others." The Stefanski dilemma. Stick to the plan or ride the hot hand. Kevin Stefanski now faces a delicate decision. Stick to his original plan of gradual development and hierarchy, or reward the hot hand in Shedeur Sanders. It's a coaching tightrope. Go with experience and safety, and you might miss out on raw brilliance. Bet on upside too soon, and you risk burning a rookie under pressure. The Browns' 2025 season opener looms on August 29th. The clock is ticking. Final word. Shedeur's time is now. For Shedeur Sanders, the days of waiting in the shadows may be over. He's made his case on the field. He's earned respect in the locker room. He's showing poise under fire. And most importantly, he's made the most of every second of daylight that Pickett's injury has afforded him. "I'm just thankful to have the opportunity," Shedeur said earlier this week. "I know what I can bring." And now, so does Cleveland. Whether Stefanski makes the leap or not, Shedeur Sanders is no longer a footnote in the Browns' QB room. He's the headline.